back to Book Talk. Today's episode, we're going to be diving into the core values. And I'm Brady.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Elijah.
So I'll go ahead and get us started. We're going to be looking at different core values we discussed in class, and we're going to be relating them back to community and human flourishing, much as we have our other episodes. But we're really excited to get going here. By starting off, we're going to grab about one or two core values from our core value chart that we really think stood out to us. And we're going to see how it relates to us and everything that we've gone over in class. I'll go ahead and get us started by throwing out there that I think that faith and spirituality play a huge role in our lives today and really in making up this class as a whole. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, those are two pretty intriguing and interesting, core values. Me personally, I would have gone another route, but, knowing you and who you are as a person, I could definitely see why you chose that. So,
yeah, I think all of us being here at Judson in a Christian atmosphere, a Christian school, faith has definitely played a huge role in our lives here, and our spirituality has definitely helped us grow. I know personally, as a baseball team, one thing that we took on this kind of winter was starting a Bible study, and as we went on through the spring, through the winter, we saw the Bible study continue to grow and the faith continue to grow on our team. And I thought that was really cool to see kind of the spirituality within our team grow, and with that, kind of the community aspect of our team felt like it was getting stronger as well. What do you guys think? I know both of you have been there at different times during the Bible studies.
Yeah, I think even especially when we pray before games, like after games, like that, I think like it brings a strong connection through all of us. It like kind of raises our spirits in the middle of the games. Like I think it's like it does a lot for us.
Yeah, I mean, going off that, I thought what was the coolest thing to see was, we traveled all the way down to Florida for spring break, and you're thinking like, all right, these guys are gonna go off the walls, just go crazy. But it's every single night at like I want to say 10 or something, or
yeah.
I don't know, but pretty much a Florida night we had literally about 90% of the baseball house just at the dinner table, doing a Bible study.
Yeah, doing a full-on Bible study.
Yeah, and going off to what you said, Brady, like it just, like the first night we had about, I think, 10, and then at the end of the trip we had about like, I think nearly 20 guys. So I thought that was pretty cool to see, especially like the time frame as well, like how fast we grew and, bonded together over that. So
yeah, no, absolutely, I agree with that. I thought it was really cool as well. I think one day we were even there like right around noon, right about lunch, right before we even headed out to games.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool to see. But I know even from speaking to other guys on the team that they really thought that was the closest we've been as a team, and it really brought us together, being able to just sit there all together as like a family and as a community and being able to discuss what we all believed in. But with that, I'll go ahead and pass it on to you, John. You can go ahead and talk about some core values you thought really stuck out to you.
yeah, so I mean, knowing me and knowing my route, I chose discipline and consistency because I'm very work ethic oriented. So I truly believe that the more you put in, the more you get out. It's kind of cliche as it sounds. It's 100% true because I think I want to say 2 years ago I tore my ACL.
I was just gonna ask you.
So tore my ACL, devastating injury, and it was during a big season for me. I was getting looked at by several universities, hoping to get recruited, and ACL tore. Obviously didn't expect it, and it was a year-long recovery. And I truly don't think I'd be here today at Judson or playing baseball without those two core values of discipline and consistency. Because every single day, I literally wake up and literally practice bending my knee to 90 degrees. As stupid as it sounds,
yeah.
It was truly like a very mentally challenging part of my life, and I'm grateful I went through it because I'm stronger in the end. But it for sure correlates to those two core values that I chose very well, and that's why I think those are the most important to me.
Yeah, I love those, really. One of my favorite ones you said was discipline. I think, obviously, we all play baseball, but that's so much bigger than just sports, really, in life. Life's never going to be easy. Life's going to be tough. It's going to throw a lot of different difficulties at you, but you're always going to have to obviously be disciplined and work around them, find solutions, and then just move past it. You're not going to be able to just lay down and everything's going to be all right. If you do that, obviously there's going to be consequences.
Yeah, and obviously, like, it's in every area of your life, because, like, I'm assuming many people set goals for themselves, and how can you accomplish it without discipline or consistency? They sound similar, but they're truly kind of different, two different entities. So, you could set a goal for yourself, get like straight A's a semester. Obviously can't do it with either of those core values. If you're a fitness junkie, if you want to PR on a bench press at like 225 by this, it's just certain stuff like that. You can't do it without consistency and discipline.
I'll bring back up those Bible studies we were doing as a team. I'd say the first 4 or 5 we did was probably 5-6 people.
Yeah.
But we stayed consistent with it every week. Like you said, we grabbed more people every week, 10, 12, 14. And by Florida, we were having 30, 40 people in there.
I think the coolest thing was I didn't notice anyone who started at the beginning of the Bible study, kind of recruit the people that weren't showing up at the beginning. They just kind of naturally oh, this guy's here, and it was just cool to see that grow naturally. So
because like you said, the consistency of it being every week, people knew about it, so they were able to pick up on it. Well, those are great core values, John. Thank you, Ian. Why don't you go ahead and dive into 2 that really stuck out to you?
So the 2 that really stuck out to me was dedication and calmness. I think to hop off shot, I think dedication, you need to get 1% better each day, stay on track and just stay within yourself and just stay and do 100% in everything that you do. I also think that calmness is a core value for life. I don't think you should do anything angry. I think calm is always the best way because no one's gonna get a good reaction off anger towards someone else, and I don't think anything's gonna get done. And then I think to relate it all to stuff we did in class, I think there's characters that didn't take the calm route and then they just went and did stuff through anger, and then it always didn't give the best outcome. And then I think when they did have calmness, I think they got a really good outcome and the story ended a little bit better than they thought. Yeah, do you guys have anything to feed off that?
Yeah, those are great points. I think that dedication is much like consistency that we mentioned earlier. Just being consistent and dedicated to something and just keeping up with it, obviously, will really help you lead to success.
Yeah, I'd say that as well. Especially with the community and human flourishing, the way how I think about it is, the long-term goal. You want to be bonded and you want to have the success and the kind of the family type atmosphere for both human flourishing and community. And all 6 of those core values to me, I feel they're kind of steps to what that family type atmosphere should be. So
yeah, absolutely. Ian, I know you mentioned you kind of seen this in some stories. Is there any that really stood out to you with these 2 core values?
I think one for sure would be Long Way Down, especially when he's going down the elevator, he's seeing all these ghosts, and then he's building up all this anger, he's gonna go kill somebody, and then he gets down there, and then I know we wrote our own endings, but I thought the perfect ending would be he calms down, he doesn't go through with it. I don't think that's who he is as a person. I know that's what the neighborhood is, but I don't think that's who he is at all. I think he just tosses a gun, goes on with his life, tries to help change.
I think that me and you had the same alternating there, where you kind of just got rid of the gun and proceeded with life. Because sometimes it's really important to just remain calm. Well, those are also some great core values. Now I'm going to go ahead and dive into what we called our hexagonal charts for all you listeners back home. During the school year, right at the beginning of the year, Dr. Roberts had us sit down with all of our core values and list out a separate side for community and a separate side for human flourishing. And in the center of our chart is what we believed was the center of community and the center of human flourishing, and around that is everything that spreads off. So I'll go ahead and begin with, for the community side, what we put for the center of ours was common goals. Why do you guys think we chose common goals?
Because I think in order to have a community that actually flourishes and is successful, is everyone has the same goal everyone's there for the same reason. And I feel like that's the only way like a community can be just like 100% all in and like want to like succeed in like what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's literally a perfect answer from Ian. I like the part where you mentioned, the common reason or purpose to be there. And, obviously we've mentioned several times with like the baseball, that we're on the baseball team. Like, I know Brady, you were here last year, not quite the best season. And then to now, I feel like the common purpose or reason that, for the baseball team is like kind of night and day for you. So I think Brady could take like more out of that answer than you and I. So.
Yeah, you kind of stole the words right out of my mouth. But for all the listeners back home, we obviously weren't successful as a baseball team last year. Coming in, we brought a lot of new guys. So the number one thing for us as a team and as a community was to set these kind of common goals, and we're kind of approaching them now that we recorded this. But making conference was obviously our number one goal. Yeah. We're now one game away from that, hoping to do it later today. But being able to set those common goals, I think, really pushed us as a team to kind of get the best out of us.
Yeah. And I think something that's kind of intriguing to me is like for the purpose or like the goals that like the so-called community like kind of sets itself. Like once you realize like how obtainable it is, like as you keep going through the process, you it's kind of like multiplies the growth of the community even more. Does that
you're saying like the people around you like help you boost like what the goal is and like how to get there and like.
Now since you mentioned that, I'll go ahead and get right into our next bit, which is two values that kind of branch off of common goals that we've written down that I think kind of really stood out to us altogether was growth and mutual support and I'll do three then, and communication. How do you guys think those all kind of tie together to common goals? How do you think they expand the community aspect?
I think like when everyone's 100% in and like everyone's got a common goal, like you obviously see growth within the group like 100%, and then to jump into like communication, like you got to have communication to be able to grow and to be able to have like a common goal between everyone, because if everyone's not on the same page, like nothing's gonna get done.
Absolutely.
I mean, once again, another great answer from Ian. Like he's on it today. he's on point today. But I mean, like, yeah, it's exactly how I said what Ian said. It's almost like an anthill. I like every single ant's like in doing their task, doing their deed for in order to keep the hill up and afloat. So
yeah, I like that.
That's a really good analogy, Elijah. The only thing I wanted to add to that is just how important I think communication can be for a successful community. Yeah. And I couldn't think at all of a successful community or whatever you may want to call it, team, whatever it may be, that has little to no communication. Now we'll go ahead and dive into human flourishing here. The center of human flourishing that we chose was purpose. Why don't you guys dive into that a little bit?
I think for someone to flourish, like everyone has a purpose in life, whether like you know what that is yet or you don't know what that is. Like there's some guys who like will go through college, like just pick like a psychology or like a business degree, not knowing like what they want to do in the future, and then they won't even know what they want to do for a job until they're out of college, and then they're like, oh, I just wasted like 4 years. Like I think like everyone just has to like find their purpose and like want to like be able to succeed in that.
I mean, once again, Ian's literally 100% today. I mean, like he's on point. I don't know what you did differently today, but keep doing it, Ian. But yeah, I mean, realistically, like when I think of human flourishing, I think of like success and like happiness, and like in order to have both of those, like you really need your purpose. And going off what Ian said with like the 4 years, like like people go to college trying to find their purpose, like maybe sometimes harder for others, but yeah, it might be sometimes harder for others, but thankfully you could change your majors and all that. So
I'll build off that, and I think the college point's a great point, but I think finding that purpose as soon as you can really just leads to almost an easier kind of life, but kind of helps clear everything out for you, helps you figure everything else alongside you. But yeah, I think purpose is absolutely important, and it leads you to where you need to be, and helps you get there. But then I also think that purpose, we'll dive into our next bit here, purpose leads to personal growth, well-being, and self-actualization. Obviously, purpose, can help you get to those different points. What do you think about it, Elijah?
Yeah, so I was literally about to just bring this up, since I've already mentioned that I'm a work ethic, work oriented, type of dude. I write down goals and all that, and every goal that I have, typically has its own purpose. And I've always been told growing up as well that you literally do everything with a purpose. Like if you want something bad enough, everything that relates to that desired goal or whatever it is should have that purpose in order for you to obtain it, or at least come close to it as possible. So
what do you think, Ian?
I think that overall this relates to a great story that we read in class called Their Eyes Were Watching God.
Oh yeah, great story.
Yeah, where Janie Crawford's trying to find herself and her purpose and everything.
Absolutely.
She keeps traveling, finding a new man, going through all these things to just try to find her purpose and what she wants to do in life.
Yeah.
I think that's a great example for
that is a really, really good example. When throughout she's going through her different husbands, and eventually later on she realizes that her purpose all along,
Yeah.
But that is a really, really good example.
It's not to throw you guys off the tracks, but going back to The Outsiders.
Oh, jeez.
I'm sorry. I'm a fan of the movie. I love the movie. But to me, when I think about purpose, Ponyboy sees the greater purpose, besides fighting, kind of the greaser sock battle or war. He kind of sees the better purpose of life. So I feel like that would also be something to add on as well.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect example for
that. That is a really good example. Yeah, I think all in all, with all that you guys mentioned, that purpose really helps lead to personal growth, helps you improve your well-being, and helps you kind of get to that self-actualization. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, I would 100% agree.
All right, that's going to do it for our last episode of Book Talk. We thank you all for tuning in and joining us.
All right, thank you guys so much.
Thank you. I had fun doing this.